Hey guys, it's me again for the final time. Uh, no, I just wanted to let you guys know that I set up a website at mangled.com. Mangled.com is going to be a sort of group fiction site, a place where you can write silly, funny, casual kind of group fiction project stuff. What do I mean by that? Well, there are sites like the SCP Foundation or the RPC Authority or all the other million and one things that have spawned from that, where they have a lot of rules about what you can and can't write, and how to write it and what format and blah blah blah. There's sites like No Sleep on Reddit where they have specific things about what is or isn't horror and what is or isn't acceptable as realistic, that type of thing. So this is more of a casual kind of place, a place where you can just sort of fuck around, have fun. Don't spam it. Don't write just crazy stupid shit. But other than that, just have fun. So yeah, this is going to be a sort of hotspot, hotbed, hot plate, a central location for a bunch of different creative writing group fiction projects. So let's look at the design first of all, the quote-unquote design. It's very red. The center area here, as you can see, there's a link that tells you about how to write for mangled.com, which is basically just posting on a forum, because it's like a group fiction forum. And recent content here in the middle. Recent content in the middle is basically going to be whatever has been uploaded, or posted, I should say, most recently, in order of posting, so new stuff at the top. So yeah, this is just basically the center area where it tells you what's new in terms of like the group fiction projects in general. Now on either side, we have specific places for the different parts of the site, the different group fiction project areas. One here is the CRP Institute. The CRP Institute is like the aforementioned SCP type stuff. Very loose, very, kind of silly. Basically just trying to be like a comedic alternative to the SCP Foundation and all that in a very casual way. As you can see, it's a very short entry. This is one I've written here. There are templates on the site, so you can, copy and paste the template and then fill out the information. But yeah, so as you can see, this is just sort of written up like an SCP article, but it's the CRP Institute, and it has a little image that I put here, different stuff like that. We're going to go back and take a look at the next one here. M/No Story. The M is for Mangled. No Story is supposed to be like a sort of spoof of No Sleep. It's like a comedic little satire, poking fun at No Sleep a little bit. On No Story, what you'll do is you'll post a thread with a title, and that's it. There's no story, there's just the title. So like you can see one of my posts here, the game Two Crude Dudes was based on a true story, mine, and another dude's. So yeah, if you look at it, it's just the title again as the description, or as the story, the body of the post, because it just is basically, it's no story. There is no story, it's just titles. And this is sort of poking fun at the fact that on No Sleep, the titles of the stories give away like a lot of the, what's going on in the story. Like on No Sleep, you might see a story that's titled, My Sister Died and Now She's a Ghost. I Don't Know How to Get Her Out of My Refrigerator. And, that'll be the title of the story, and it'll be like, okay, well, I know what your story is then. You have the ghost of your sister is in the refrigerator. You don't know how to get her out of there, so why do I need to read your story? So this is sort of like a little funny, jab at that, where you can just sort of try writing funny titles. I mean, that's just the basic part of it, is just, if you have an idea for a funny title, just post it there. Some areas that are more new that I've just sort of was testing out now, Rotten Toadstools. If you've been to RottenTomatoes.com, that's a movie review site. Even if you haven't been there, you probably know that anyway. So Rotten Toadstools is our Rotten Tomatoes group fiction project. What happens is the first person posts a thread. So you post a new thread about a fake movie or television show, like a lost episode type thing. You write a short description, and you give like a rating to sort of signal whether it's a good or bad movie. And you can fill out some little fun stuff if you want to. And the fun part about this, what makes it a group fiction project, is that people then reply with their reviews. So the first person posts the thread about a fake movie or television show. the next person to reply and all the other people that reply to that thread are posting reviews of that movie, of that fake movie. So as you can see here, you rate the movie, you put who the reviewer is, you can make up any name you want, you could make up like characters that you want to write as, whatever, and you write a review. Now the hidden genius of this, the reason this is so fucking cool, is this is again a group fiction kind of thing where you can start a thread about a general idea, and then everybody else can sort of add to that by writing the review. Because in your review you might say, I really hated the chainsaw scene, I thought it was too gory and over the top and blah blah blah. Basically you're adding on to it by writing that there's a chainsaw scene. You're like helping with the building of what this movie is and what this thing is. Now, I would ask that people, when you're contributing to stuff like this, be really respectful. Respect the person's original idea. Try to keep within the confines of what they said the movie or TV show is. Don't go too crazy and like totally change what they were trying to write. So, kind of add on to it, but be respectful of the original idea. So yeah, first person posts a thread about a movie. Everybody replies with reviews that sort of add on to the story and sort of, add new things to what it's about. Next we have Yikes customer reviews. Sort of a joke about, like Yelp. Instead of Yelp, it's Yikes. But yeah, so this is a similar thing to Rotten Toadstools. This, once again, the original person posting is posting about a business, like a fake business. Right here we have Bubba Shit's Family Slophouse, and that's a reference to the Fear Fiction podcast if you haven't checked that out. But yeah, we've got a description of the restaurant, sort of like touting the restaurant as a good place to eat. We have the owner and proprietor, the business name, and then the person replying to this thread, because you start the thread listing a business, like like any given business listing, and then the people replying write their reviews. They rate their trip to that location with a star rating from 1, or I guess you could do 0, from 0 to 5 stars. You put your customer name, the person who's writing the review, and then you review the location. Now, I think this has a lot of potential, because right now it doesn't look like much, I'm sure. But imagine, let's say somebody writes a entry about a shopping mall, and it's like, come on down to the Dove Hills shopping mall, we've got many stores and blah blah blah. And then, everybody goes crazy in the replies writing customer reviews where they're like, the shopping mall is great and blah blah blah, but I don't like this one store in the corner that, is always dark and shadowy and sells human livers. Like that's kind of an obscene, crazy, weird example, but you know what I'm saying? People who write reviews can then add on to the mythology of this location. So you can like add on little things and write some crazy stuff, some cool stuff. Again, try to be respectful of what the original person wrote. Don't go too nuts with it. Don't be like, I went to this place and then it burned down and then it exploded and then I went back the next day and it was magically still there and it was full of wombats and the wombats were all rabid, and then, like, just try to be have a little bit of reserve and, try to stick to sort of what the original concept is and extend that, as opposed to just, random crazy stuff that might be scary to you, but, maybe not work within, the general premise. But yeah, so that's the Yikes customer reviews. And next we have list bait. List bait is sort of like the most simplistic thing. List bait is just sort of like a place to post clickbait lists, like every other site ever does. If you want to do like a list of the top 10 people that I cannibalized, and you just write, like each person's name and then what you thought of them and how they tasted. I don't know. Just, funny, stupid horror stuff, horror comedy type content. If any of these areas end up not being used, I can always, phase them out a bit, put up new ideas, things like that. But for right now, this is sort of like what I decided to launch with. We also have a place for like general articles, like if you just want to write a funny article of some sort. But we'll see how that all shakes out. So yeah, if you want to write on the forum, you just click this button here, and it'll basically lead you to this forum that's all site information. how to write for mangled.com is going to be the top one, and then it's going to have little guidelines for each section. Now, as you can see, the guidelines vary. For No Story, it's a very simple set of guidelines. And for Rotten Toadstools, you can see there's a little bit more in terms of the guidelines because it, has to do a lot with the format and things like that. But yeah, nowhere near as complicated as a lot of the other sites like the SCP Foundation. Not as many rules. The only rule is basically don't fuck up someone else's story by being too out there, and don't just post spam gibberish. Those are like basically the rules right now as we go forward. But yeah, so this is mangled.com. I would encourage you guys to try it out. Don't be shy. If you go to Rotten Toadstools, for example, just post up a listing for a movie. Just post up a listing for a movie. There's a template in the site information forum that you can fill out to post up something like this. Just post up a movie. See if anybody replies to it with a review. I don't know. Maybe they will, maybe they won't. Now, if you want to add images to this, that's a little bit more detailed. I guess I'll put up a post about how to add images to your post. Basically, you upload it with your post. When you're posting it, you upload an image with it, and then you have to go back and edit, to put the image in the actual post. So that's a little bit complicated, but I'll, put up a thread about that too. This little view files button that I added, lets you look at the files that are added and not. But yeah, so that's about that. Mangled.com. I think it's pretty cool. I think it's a great idea, but of course I came up with it, so of course I'm going to be biased. And you guys are invited to come by and try it out. Yeah. What else is there to say? I guess nothing.